This conversation originally premiered at CFF on March 25th, 2025, and was sponsored by DGC Ontario. Behind every great director is a story about how they got there, and it's rarely a straight path. From crew to creative calls, today we're exploring what it really means to step into the director's chair with Breaking In, the transition to directing. Cheers Nick Butler, Joanna Tisanis, Malid Moafi, Dan Abaramovici, Rebecca Applebaum, and moderator Sean Gerard. Welcome to the fest.
Hi. Thank you so much for being here. This is great. I love that these panels are all very full. This is amazing. But before we start, I want our guests to introduce themselves. They are fantastic and people I really, really admire. And I'm just happy they were available and willing to do this. Let's start with you, Amira.
Hi, I'm Amira. I am the owner of Project 4 PR, and we represent talent in the film and TV industry.
I'm a professional. Hi, my name is Aisha Evelyna, she, her pronouns. I am an actor, filmmaker, person who works in the arts because I don't think I could do corporate. So that's what I'd say.
Hi, I'm Christina. I'm a cinematographer and a filmmaker. And I'm on the board of the Canadian Society of Cinematographers, so I put a lot of emphasis and effort in community and mentorship in all the things I do. Yep.
Hello. Hi, I'm Shant Joshi. I am president at Faye Pictures. It's my company. We're on a mission to decolonize Hollywood by creating cinematic experiences and empathy, and have produced many award-winning films and now TV shows. And also I was co-founder of Future Film Showcase with Eric. So that's me.
Hi, I'm Yuvi. I'm an actor, filmmaker, and content creator. If you don't see me on your TV screen or in a theater, you'll see me on your phones in some video on the internet somewhere. So that's what I do.
My brother's a big fan.
Cool, cool, thank you.
He was watching, I walked into his room and he was watching one of your TikToks. This is like a couple weeks ago. And then I looked and he was like, "You got this guy." I was like, "Yeah." No, it's cool. And Shant and I used to host industry panels in this very club room back in the day. So pretty full circle to come back and speak. So I guess I just wanted to start it off because obviously some of these topics, the topics of branding and thriving in the industry can be very broad. Like, give me one sentence about what you think, what does thriving mean to you specifically? Like, what do you understand the definition of thriving to be, at least within your own profession?
One sentence. I think in this industry particularly, I think thriving means longevity. And I also think it means that your name is synonymous with quality, so that when people think of you, they know right away that they're going to get something good. That's 2 sentences.
Oh, that's great. I'd say, for me as a filmmaker, working on work that you are passionate about with people who you like in a way that is financially sustainable. That's what I'd say is success, because awards, that kind of stuff, it comes and goes, and you might think, like when you start making plans, that's when God starts laughing kind of vibe. So all you can do is try and have a nice amount of work that you like with people who are cool, and maybe buy $10 eggs. Yeah.
Thriving is doing the thing that you love, and if you get paid for it, that's even better. But I also think it's when your name is mentioned in a room, if it's positive and people are there to protect your name in that room, that's also a great indicator of that you're doing something right.
Everything that they said, plus I'd say just work-life balance, being able to have an enjoyable life, hang out with friends, be a sociable, communal person, in your life that's outside of this industry. We need that balance between in and out, because it's always hustle, hustle, hustle. So slow down, take some breathers, focus on yourself, all that stuff.
I don't know what I could say that everybody already hasn't said, but kind of exactly what they're saying. Like, if you're doing something you like doing, whether it's in the film industry or not, if you're enjoying your projects, you're having fun at work, and you could buy $10 eggs and make money off of it and live, and just live, I think that's thriving.
And I guess specifically for Amira and Shant, so in running both a PR company and a production company, respectively, when you're building strategies with films and clients, what are some of the things that you chat about? So an emerging filmmaker comes to you and goes, "I have this film," or "I want this film to be made." What are some strategies that you sort of chat with them about?
So every client that comes to me, whether they're a filmmaker, whether they're an actor, every strategy is very different because every person and every project is different. So, one of the first things that I do with my clients is I sit down with them and ask them, okay, what is your project about? What is the story behind it? What are you all about as a filmmaker? So it's kind of getting that story of, it's more than just the project itself. It's more than just a film. It's what is the narrative that we're trying to get out there, because that's what's going to sell your film and that's what's going to sell your story. It's what makes it unique. So from there, when we kind of figure that out, the next thing is to really figure out, okay, where do we place this story in? And that means, that's everything from which journalists are we reaching out to, which media outlets are we reaching out to. It's very strategic. And there's this archaic way of doing public relations where you write a press release and you put all the information there, and then you send it out on the wire and you disseminate it. And I don't believe in that personally. I don't believe in just throwing a pitch out there. For me, it has to be specific and tailored to each person, because that's the most effective, especially in this world where there's so much content out there. And there's so much noise. How do you stand out? And the only way you're going to stand out is, if you perfect that key messaging that represents you and represents your film, and then picking the right people, the right outlets that will help get that message out there. And that's the most strategic way of doing it. And it's been very successful with my clients and their films, and whether they're an actor, whether they're a filmmaker. I would say strategy, and no, there's no one formula for everybody.
Yeah. So strategy with regards, so you said for my production company, but are you asking with respect to someone comes to me with a project that they're looking to set up, or someone comes to me with like basically on are we talking about release strategy or development strategy?
So both. So in your case, both development and release strategy. So obviously they'd be two different kinds of strategies. But I
mean, and for us at Fate Pictures, like we love to start at the ground level with filmmakers. So sometimes it is like just the kernel of an idea. It's always a great place to start and then build something really cool from there. We've done that a couple times. And so, yeah, we come in early on stuff. We come in late on stuff too, but ultimately whatever we're looking at, the biggest question we're asking ourselves is, would we watch it? Like, would we go? If we saw a poster at Scotiabank Theater, would we choose that over Captain America something, right? Like, how do you sort of make that sort of curatorial decision? And so, yeah, we find ourselves as producers curating with the filmmakers, or curating, basically like, firstly figuring out like, would we want to watch this watch this film if it was made, and then secondly, like, are these people we want to work with, and because it's always thinking about long term, because these making movies and stuff, it's like 5 years, 10 years in the works, and you have to be able to like pick up the phone and call each other at any time, at any emotional state. And get to the next day, and whether that's filing taxes or it's like or we just got invited to Cannes, or both our lead actors got COVID. It's like you gotta always, per people you're working with, you're gonna work with them throughout that. And we've had experiences where we've had to let like part ways with filmmakers, even midway through projects, end of projects, and stuff like that. So we're always very cognizant. We have like a big no assholes policy at the company and everything. Like, we're just focused on like, who can we work with and collaborate with, longevity, sustainability, And then ultimately, is this something interesting that we would love to see on screen? And do we think it has an impact? So I think that applies obviously to development, and then with releasing, it's just like constantly asking the question, putting yourself in the shoes of the audience and being like I'd rather just scroll through TikTok for an hour than, turn on Netflix. It's like, how do you get out of that cycle and then watch something? So it's especially right now, it's such a elusive thing. Yeah.
Do you find that when people are coming to you, or filmmakers are coming to you, let's say with something that they'd want to develop, do you ever find that anything beyond that is ever figured out yet? Like any of their marketing strategy or ways to promote their film at all? Like, do they ever come to you with ideas on that?
Well, the movie in and of itself is a brand, right? So what's the title? What's the concept? What's the story? Where does it come from? We're thinking about all those pieces as to like who's behind it, who's making it, like how do we talk about this once it's made? Yeah. Right? Because it's not just about the construction of it. It's about the presentation. You ultimately make these movies to be presented, and so you have to think about all these questions about, like what's the pitch? Like, Queen Tut worked on that for like about 10 years, and it was like Egyptian young man moves to Toronto, becomes a drag queen. Like that was the pitch, and I walked through LA and I walked through Toronto, and like just anytime anyone asked me what are you working on, like that was my little, one sentence pitch basically. And then that ended up being something that, is how we talked about the film and language and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of the stuff that ends up at the end came from the beginning anyways.
And so for Aisha and Christina, so both of you, in terms of in promoting your own work, so Aisha being both an actor and a director, like what are some of the strategies that you look towards into promoting your own work? And then for Christina, being a cinematographer, I feel like you do a really good job at not only self-promotion, but also building community in your circles as well, which I really admire. Christina runs something called Coffee House Hours, which is wonderful. They get together and have a coffee and just chat, and they go to a local coffee shop, support local businesses in Toronto, and that to me is great because it's a mix of, again, self-promo, but also but you're a huge community builder. So I guess in terms of both of those things, if you guys wanted to speak to that.
Well, mutual support creates mutual success, right? So if you are genuine in that and intentional in that, then the community that you build yourself around and work within is ultimately going to be the ladder that helps you climb. So like I've had things happen because I had coffee with someone and like 5 years later that person is helping me on a project, or did me a favor or vice versa. So I invest in people first more than gear and other things like that. So that would be my piece of advice to anyone starting out, is invest in relationships, because those are the people that you're going to be creating with, growing with, and their success is going to be your success and vice versa, right? So that's kind of, I guess, my mantra that I kind of surround my approach to things with. And then I guess, what was the question about branding again? Sorry.
Well, branding, I guess, like in terms of your own self promo, yeah. Whether it's for projects you're working on or anything.
I'm not. I definitely like being behind the camera, so I get very nervous. But so I don't like doing the, here's a cool piece of equipment you should check out thing. So I just like to show what I'm learning, share it, and show what I'm doing, because early on in my career, I'm a bit older than I look. There wasn't a lot of women in camera, and I realized quickly that visibility is a huge factor. So the minute I started posting photos of myself holding the camera, doing things, that's when people started taking me seriously. So it wasn't so much about acting like I knew everything. It was just like, look, I can do this. And I believed in my potential, because at the end of the day, you have to be your biggest fan. No one's going to care about you if you don't care about you. And if you don't believe in your own skills and your own potential, then why should anybody else? So that's kind of like, hey, this is something I'm really interested in. This is something I'm trying to do. I'm learning about it, but I'm showing you that I'm trying. And if you're down, let's figure it out and do it together. So that's kind of what I do. And anything I learn, I'm happy to share.
So I just try to make myself as approachable as possible. And at the end of the day, I mix my personal and work life together, because I think it's important when you're spending 12, 14 hours on the road, with people, that they have a sense of who you are, because that's part of the collaboration, especially as a cinematographer. I'm carrying someone's vision, but at the same time, they have to like me, and they want to want to hang out with me and create with me and spend lots of time with me. So that's a really easy way of people finding out who I am, just by going to my social media and following along throughout the day. And I guess I don't really go after the follower count. I'm more interested in making real connections. So I probably know almost all 5,000 followers, either online or in person. And I like that. I think that's really cool. So that's just my approach. It's a portfolio, but it's also a little peer to my life. I try to maintain some boundaries, but I want you to get to know me and get to know what I've like to do and what to say, but I like to say and what I'm interested in at that same time, I don't want people to be scared to talk to me. He definitely says that. How do I say? Very broad. It's a big question. Okay, I'll give you the higher macro, and then I can go into the minutiae of things. I don't know. I'm just I started as a hoe on the internet. I gotta say, I just truly, I have no problem saying that. 2015, 2016, when Soho House was a huge thing, I was out there being I'm an actress. I don't know, it's just kind of just trying to be cute, being hire me. And eventually you realize that doesn't work, but I don't, because it doesn't. But from there, it was kind of just my craving for community as I think what helped me brand myself. I don't actually, this sounds bad, but I don't personally believe in, no shade to y'all, branding at least for me as a person, because the idea of branding puts it out there, you have to try and be something that you're not. I think for any actors or filmmakers that are kind of trying to figure out and get really clear on what their voice is, because yes, branding for a film or branding being that guy in Twister, he has a brand, I get it. However,
Glenn Powell?
That guy
Glenn Powell?
Yeah,
Twister?
yeah, Twister guy.
Yeah, Twister guy.
He has a brand. However, and I feel that works for some folks, but for me, it's kind of too far over there. And the idea of trying to be something I'm not is not a vibe. So it's more how to bring it closer to myself. It's just been and you'll hear this everywhere, and I'm so sorry, it's trite, but it's true. Be yourself. I know it's so annoying, but I think it was kind of just, it's twofold, me being oh, I'm just a chatty girl that's an extrovert and just being out there on the internet. And then also the other thing is just really standing for what I believe in when it comes to my work. And filmmaking is so hard. It's so hard. I literally said to Shant when I got here, I was how do you finish so many movies? Because it's hard. And so there's no way I'm going to work on something for 3, 4, 5, 7 years. My feature will premiere 7 years from when I wrote it, I think, or it'll be wrapping up 7 years from when I wrote it. So I am not going to not share about that. And I feel it's also just standing on business, standing on what you believe in. And I'm if anything, what I believe in is my work, and myself, I am in my work. And so it's less so about when I started, when I was just an actor being I'm cute. It's more so, which is, some people do that and it works for them, good for them. However, for me personally, it was more of I make this cool thing, I was craving community, I got into filmmaking, I'm really excited about this thing, a lot of cool people worked on this thing with me, and I'm gonna push it to whomever I can, because you have to. You know what I mean?
And it also goes back to saying what you guys were saying. It's you have this film that you've been working on for years. Nobody else knows that. I mean, now we know that because you've told us.
Yeah.
Right? Only you know that.
100%.
And it's great is when you're finally ready to promote it, nobody's going to sort of, hey, you've been working on it for a long time. You should finally do it. You know what I mean? You got to.
No one is going to pluck you from obscurity.
Right.
The idea that you're going to be walking in a Walmart and someone's going to be you, that's not real. Even having an agent, your agent can get you work, but you also have to have something that you're driving as the vehicle to get you there. Right. And so for me, it's less about me and more so about driving the vehicle, which does not mean that I'm not looking at oh, I've made this film, who is the target audience, that kind of thing,
right.
Because that does go into it. However, it's it's from a place of like looking at the work and putting the work first, as opposed to myself as the individual. But that's just my approach to it, if that makes sense. Yeah.
That's great. And for you, Yuvi, like, I mean, you make amazing content, and I think you have such an audience. Like, in terms of growing that audience, what are sort of the steps that you've taken over the years to grow that audience sustainably, but also in a way that feels organic?
So I've been doing like content creation for 10 years now. 2015 is when I started just posting videos online. Because I was interested in acting. I was doing acting classes and filmmaking, and I love that entire world. But in high school, I'm like, how do I enter that world? Like, I have no clue. I was in the IB program in Brampton, and I'm like, I don't know what Hollywood is. I don't know how to get into this. So I took classes in Toronto. And so while I was doing that, the only thing I could do is create stuff, because I like making stuff. That's where the filmmaking side of my brain comes in. So I started making videos on the internet. Things that were my hobbies started turning into like, let me make something cinematic, let me do this and that. So I was doing it for a while, on and off, for a few years. Saw some success in some things, just random videos and stuff, but I never doubled down on it. I was never like, social media is what I want to do, because it's always acting in film. It still is acting in film. And so it was, I think 2018, where TikTok came around and I started posting on that app. So I was always just like, the content creation side of my brain wasn't something I did to reach a specific end goal. Like, I wasn't like, I want to start making videos so I could be in this thing or meet this person or that person. There wasn't an end goal attached to it. I was doing it because I liked it, which is why I could do it for 10 years and not be burnt out and not be like, oh no, it's year 3 and I haven't made any money, or I haven't met this thing or that thing. It was always just, I like this, so I'm going to do it. Kind of how filmmakers start out, where you're like, you're writing films and you're making projects and you're like, I don't know if this is going to go anywhere, but I love it, so I'm going to keep doing it. So I started making more videos. I'm just doing this while I'm in school. I did software engineering in school, so not film still. But I was doing film stuff on the side. So I got my first agent when I was in university. I was taking acting classes all the time. I started doing writing courses. So I'm doing all that, and no one really sees that. They just see the social media stuff I'm putting out. In 2023, so I made a few short films during my university stretch that I wrote. I directed some. I was in these. Started kind of building a network in the film world. And then there came a point in my last year of university, 2022 November, where I upgraded my camera, and I'm like, I can make short films like myself for the internet. Let me try this without a big team, a big budget. Let me just see what this looks like. So I'd finish like assignments or something at like 9 or 10 p.m. and I'm like, cool, I don't sleep a lot. So I'm like, I have till like 3 a.m. now, let's just make a film. So I learned how to color grade, I learned how to edit, I learned how to do sound design, I learned how to mix audio and music and do all of that stuff. And I started making short films on the internet. And then those took off. And I was like, oh, what's going on? I graduated school. I did not do a software engineering job. I did a co-op for 16 months. Not doing that. No, not doing that again. But it was all just me making videos I like to make, learning the film world, learning this world, that world. And the audience just kind of followed. There was never something I did out of my way that I'm like, oh, this gets views, so I'm going to keep doing this. In fact, I did the opposite. I had a video blow up in like university where I did like a street interview. I did Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader with a bunch of people just like during our homecoming. And the video did really well. And people are like, you should be like the interview guy. But because there is that content you probably see all the time where people asking questions. But that wasn't really what I liked doing. And although it got a lot of views and had numbers, I'm like, this isn't what I just don't enjoy this, so I'm not going to do it.
Like interviewing people is not something you
no,
I've liked interviewing people, but
that format. Yeah, so like interviewing, I've done interviews
of course,
after that as well. But it's been like just a lot of people will see something work online especially and be like, let me milk this as much as I can. Right. Even if they don't like it. Like someone might make like a TikTok dance and it blows up and they're like, oh, I'm going to keep doing this. And then you get to a point months later, years later, where you're like, I don't like what I'm doing, and all the people following me follow me for this thing that I don't even like that I'm doing. So what is really the value of these people? Kind of like you were saying, like your 5,000, like you know who they are and their connections you've made. Although it's like, I don't have that where I could, like, I know everyone specifically. I know that they like my writing or my acting or my filmmaking. So they're aligned with kind of the same things I am. So just, I don't know, advice for creating something like this is genuinely do what you like to do. It's hard to be somebody else, and then people start liking that somebody else, and you're like, no one knows what I like or who I am. So it causes the least burnout if you just do what you like, and people will follow and support you if they agree.
And
Speaking of burnout, though,
here, Christina, grab
the content creator life seems like you have to be consistent and promote and like constantly, like the momentum of that is exhausting because you do it full time. Like I'm just sharing my life while I'm making other people's films and sometimes my own, right? So I don't have like a strategic plan of every single day. Like I do with I'm promoting my own projects or something else coming up, but like day by day I'm just kind of like, oh, I shot this like a couple weeks ago, maybe I'll post it today or whatever. You have a plan. How do you maintain that and not burn out?
Okay, good question.
That's a great question.
Yeah, sorry.
No, I love it. I love
Lionel's
it.
being taken over.
I love it.
That's a great question. So the one thing that I think people don't understand about the content creation world is it is not as much to do with luck as you might think it is. Like you see someone blow up and you're like, oh, they're lucky. Like this is great. Bless you. They're like, oh, this is great. Like this person blew up out of nowhere. While yes, there is luck involved, I think in everything in the world, your filmmaking stuff too. It's like one promotional material worked and now people are flocking to this movie. It's very strategic in terms of I treated social media and content creation as a 9-to-5 years before I was getting any money out of this thing. Years before I had any followers, it was a routine in my head where I'm like, I'm done my assignments, 6 hours of this every single day. Yep. And so eventually traction picks up, but you need to, if it's something you want to do, you have to make time for it, be strategic in terms of, okay, I'm gonna make a few, during this week, I'm gonna block out time to just do this thing, because it won't happen by itself. So an example I can give is, I have 2 accounts. One I do like TV movie reviews, recommendations, and the other is like I write scenes and I act them out and do like that side of stuff. So I had a big growth spurt in my like acting side of my content creation last August, where I went from like 80,000 followers to 800,000 followers in the span of like 2 months. Really? Yeah, it was insane. It was insane. So while that was happening, that was me going, okay, cool, I've been making these videos for a while. Now I double down, but still doing what I like. So for I know the number because I was like, for 172 days, I made a new scene, filmed, edited, colored, everything, like every single day. And this is through New Year's, Christmas, like every holiday, birthdays, just like I went to Florida. I did 12 videos in 6 days so I could post while I'm in Florida. So there is that level of it where I was like, okay, the opportunity is here. People are like looking at my page. For some reason, the algorithms picked it up. Now let me show the world what I could do. Kind of like you have to believe in yourself before anyone else. And I'm like, I trust my writing and my acting ability that every single day I know I can produce something new and great, and it'll work. I don't post every day. It's every other day now, which is still kind of challenging. I won't say being an influencer is hard because I've done the 16-month co-op thing and I know what a real job looks like. And I have friends in like the tech and the medical world, so I'm not complaining. I'm just saying you need to treat it like a job if you want it to be a job. It won't just happen with, oh, I'm going to post 1 video every week and something will happen. That won't happen.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Just off of your point, one of the things that I was thinking about when I was like ideating on like what I was going to say when I came here, and like it's going to sound a little Kim Kardashian, but I mean it in a way that's not toxic. The people, including myself, the people that are sitting up here, they work really, really hard. I think, especially in the world of like instant gratification, where you can like do a dance and then like maybe get a bunch of followers, like that'll only last you so long but you have to be working hard at like the other stuff. And I think that like one of the things when it comes to putting yourself out there is like you can try so hard and it won't go your way and you still have to just keep going. And like there are incredibly accomplished people like sitting next to me, and like I was talking to Amira when she got here. I've known Amira since 2015. Amira, like when she had started, we started your PR company. I was a baby actor still trying to like be hot on the internet, and Amira was like, truly, and Amira was like, I would like to take you for a coffee because I am building my PR company. That was almost 10 years ago, and like started from scratch. And so it's not like you have to be willing to work, but a part of me, I do think that one of the things about working in filmmaking, and also just like the idea of committing to strategy, whatever it is with your work, is in addition to all of the wonderful people you meet, it's just like, it's a lot of hard work. It seems so much more glamorous, but like, it's not when both your leads get COVID and you're like, okay, like, it's just not glamorous. And so 172 days, like, I'm not trying to do that. But I just wanted to say that's not nice to do. And you did it. Congrats.
Congratulations. And I guess my follow-up question to that was, what common mistakes do you see emerging filmmakers do when they're trying to do what you do? Whether that be through promotion, whether that be through that, I guess that work that you're doing to try to like leverage your brand in some way, or leverage your voice. What are some of the common mistakes that you see emerging filmmakers doing?
I think people are kind of out of touch with what's on the internet. In terms of the internet world is like a whole world of its own. It used to be like pop culture before the internet. Everyone kind of had access to it and stuff. But the internet changes like every week. What is like the saying, or what's the trend, or what's the thing? So a lot of times things kind of seem out of touch, because the best way to connect with people, I think nowadays, is like with the masses, is social media. And so filmmakers, producers, even if they're not themselves on it, if they have someone in their team that understands that world, it just makes it a lot easier to know what to post or how to promote something at a certain time. A good example, recently Thunderbolts, I think, is that new superhero movie coming out. So if you guys don't know, Thunderbolts is like this new superhero movie coming out, and they posted their trailer, and like superhero movies people have been like not watching them as much. They've kind of like been on a decline. All they did in their trailer was make it seem more like an A24 style movie trailer, where it was like, so it wasn't your typical, I don't even know how to explain what the trailer did, but it was,
they went through like every key crew. They're like, from the cinematographer of this film, from
right.
Did they even say the gaffer? I think they said the gaffer of this film,
yeah.
like the producers of this film, like all the key crew, and even crew that general audiences would have never even heard of. I thought that was very smart.
Right, so
very smart.
So they made the tone seems so different than any superhero movie you've seen in like the past 5 years, off of like a 2-minute trailer. So that is something that the masses, like somebody was tapped in enough to be like, people like what A24 is doing right now, or like, let's change up something small. You don't have to do something big. I think that's another big problem, is people are like, we have a marketing budget, let's do the biggest possible thing we can do, when the smallest of change, like that trailer, could be the thing that has people talking about it on a panel.
My mom watches breakfast television every morning, and they played that trailer, and she looks at me and she goes, "What's a gaffer?" So clearly it's working. But that trailer was super, super good. I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah.
I also think, though, it's important not to chase trends, because they change. You want to be the trendsetter, not chasing the trends. I doom scroll at night. I have to put a limit on it. But the people that I enjoy watching are like, I don't want to say characters, but again, it's like them being themselves, and I know what I'm going to get, and it's fun. And when they show up on my social media, I'm excited. Like, to the point where, like, when they break up with somebody, I'm like, oh my God, I never saw that happen. Like, oh my God, their dog passed away. Like, I'm actually invested in these people's lives, because I've watched them grow from COVID, like, when I was sitting alone in my room, and like, we're all trying to figure out what TikTok is. And they succeeded with it. And like, I followed some of these people from like then, and I like really want to see them succeed. I care about them, even though I've never met them in my life. So when they're like, I'm seeing them like pop up on like movies or like red carpets, and I'm like, whoa, that's incredible. Like, you were dancing in your room how old am I now? Like, COVID was 6 years ago? Shit. Like, so that's what I'm saying. Like, those are the people that you go back to, because they're interesting, and yeah, they might try out new trends, but at the end of the day, like, they're a person. And again, going back to the idea of investing in relationships, investing in people, not the trends, is what's going to do it. But yeah, you definitely need to tap in. And the other thing I noticed is people think about the promotion after the movie. You could be building, like, my little short film Gemma, like that I made, like I was thinking about all that stuff, like when I was writing it, and like we integrated things in the little. It's like a 5-minute film, but like my promo on that has been great because I shot content while on set, knowing I was going to use it to promote the film. I like built things into the film that I could reference later. So like just stuff like that is something that should be part of your strategy from the very beginning, because everyone thinks about it later. And a lot of my pitch decks for getting into festivals, like my brand book for that was immaculate. Like I worked really hard, I got feedback on it. And a lot of times why we were getting into things or getting support was because of how much work I put into my pitch deck and my press kit. So just again, those things matter, and think about them early on.
Thank you so much for bringing that up, because this is literally my frustration with everybody that, well, not everybody. There's a lot of great people who have great marketing strategies, but I do want to mention that as one of there's two big mistakes that I think emerging filmmakers make. I mean, number one is that they actually don't have a marketing strategy in place. And what I mean by that is that they don't even budget for it, right? Like they'll come up with this incredible budget for their film, and when it comes to the marketing, there's $0 attached to it. So how are you supposed to get your film out if you don't even have the investment in the marketing part of things, right? So it's knowing from the very beginning, when you're applying for those grants, when you're applying for funding, know that you have to set aside budget for marketing and PR. Because that doesn't just include, hiring a publicist, but it also includes, stills photographers that you have to hire on set to take still photography. It's a videographer that, would do like interviews that you can use to repurpose later on for your press kit or for social media. It's having a social media person on site, because a lot of the PR and marketing actually start pre-production and not post-production. So those are things that you have to think about. I mean, even for myself, when I'm a unit publicist for a film or TV project, they bring me on pre-production because we're already planning a strategy. And I'm bringing media on set to give them behind-the-scenes looks on anything that is interesting to them. So a lot of this stuff takes place way beforehand. And then the other big mistake that a lot of people make is that they come to me way too late. So they think about their marketing strategy and their PR strategy literally like the day before the film releases. Like I've had so many filmmakers come to me and they're like, so I have a film coming out in 2 hours. What can you do for me? No, I'm not joking. I know, right? I'm like, at least they asked, right?
Like, wow, dangerous.
Well, in that case, I can't do anything for you. And even 2 weeks is too short of a period of time for me, right? So they'll come to me and they're like, I have a film coming out in 2 weeks. And I always tell them I can't do anything. With media, they need at least 2 months lead time, for me to even book anything with media. To actually plan, like if you're having a premiere, a red carpet, to invite people to that, that's months, right? That's not just gonna happen overnight. So just timing, just keep that in mind. You need time to prepare for these things and to do it properly, because that's the biggest thing.
I have a couple actions. Oh, Brianna.
Well, yeah, you can take it. I was just gonna follow up on quickly saying, like, I find that to be part of the experience, and at the end of the day, you want your audience to have an experience when they're watching your film. So, like, you need to think about that as a major, like, what do you want them to connect with? And if your promotion is not like drawing them in to that experience, then you're not going to have a good, like, they're not going to get it, kind of thing.
I'm sorry, I just want to say one quick thing, too, that I wanted to bring up is that I think it's also part of Canadian film and TV culture of not thinking about marketing and PR. Because we are a culture of, I don't want to talk about myself, I don't want to brag too much, I don't want to do this. And I've been fighting to have a Canadian star system since I started this career 15 years ago. And we're getting better, we're getting much better. But I do think you also have to get out of that mindset of like, well, is my film that big of a deal that I, should be promoting it? Yes, 100%. You've spent 7 years making this film, you gotta talk about it. Yeah. So anyways, I just have to say
Well, a couple of actionable things that like maybe it might bring it closer to filmmakers that are like, oh my God, there's so many things. How do I make 172 scenes in a like, how do I do that? Simple things like starting a group Google Drive and being like, hey, everybody, dump your dumb videos or whatever in this G Drive. We did that on my feature. I was way too busy to even look at my phone. But then I like didn't know that like the gaffer and like the camera trainee, they were all taking pictures all the time. And I was like, wow, in addition to the set folks. And then like even the tiniest things, like if there's some really nice light and like there's 10 minutes left in lunch, I'm not sure, I don't want to encroach on a DP's time, but like we tried to take like nice little portraits of our key cast members because like we're like, the light's nice and like he's there, and we flew up.
I like better looking crew photos. We always get the worst.
Yeah, exactly. So like it doesn't have to be so far away. You can bring it closer to yourself just by being like, hey guys, here's a group Google Drive. Dump your photos in here, and then you'll just have stuff because it's like it takes a village, right? And the other thing I was going to say when it comes to like strategy, like I actually worked with Amira on a short that was here in 2022, and I did come to you with 2 months in advance. I think that like when it goes back to like the biggest mistake, resources are sometimes very small for filmmakers, and so like hence the Google Drive idea. But having a goal so that you're not wasting your money when you're submitting to festivals, that kind of thing. It's like, I want this film to do what for me? And like if the film festival does not fall in line with that specific goal, then you do not submit. You email for waiver codes, and if you like really can't get a waiver code, then like you have to like decide, okay, do we want to spend $89 US? Are you even going to be going to Slam Dance in LA given the current climate? Like these are questions that I had about a film that I'm working on right now, where we're like, should we just kind of avoid US film festivals altogether? Because like I'm not too keen on going down there right now, like for real. So I would say be goal oriented. That will save you money, and lean on your team.
If I could just speak to money things. Yeah, no, we have a big, I think in addition to the point around where Canadians are generally too humble, and we don't like to self-advertise and for sure, or self-promote, and I'm definitely a culprit of that. I don't know if that's because I'm Canadian or whatever, but I would say as well, it permeates throughout the entire ecosystem, unfortunately. The ratio at which a production is funded versus its promotional budget is just the way our system exists with tax credits and the way the financing works and eligible expenditures and all this kind of stuff. We should be spending a lot more money. Like American studios at least usually do dollar for dollar. You know, basically you spend $1 on production, you spend $1 in marketing. I mean, yeah. But a Nora was also like, I mean, I don't know how big that investment. Do you know how big that is? Their movie was like under 10 million. I forget. It was $6 million budget, and then 18 for marketing. Yeah, exactly. So like our system doesn't set that up right now. I would definitely like to be part of the change right now. There's an election coming up. There's a giant broadcaster that broadcasts a lot of Canadian content that's on the chopping block. So everyone, please go vote.
A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah. By the way, if anyone doesn't know, Pierre Poilievre is trying to defund the CBC. If anyone doesn't know that,
well, completely abolish it, like quote unquote.
Well, but yes. So our ecosystem is in require of reform for sure, so that we can do those things. So we can do those things, and I think right now. It's just, in the meantime, while we're changing the system, let's try and put as much as we can. I agree 100% in terms of like, just it's embarrassing sometimes to like look at your marketing budget and then be like, oh, but my tax credits, and it's like you got to find that sort of happy medium that makes it work. And yeah, just right now our ecosystem is not oriented towards that, but it does need to change. Yeah, for sure.
I will say though, Canva is amazing, and that's how I do all of my stuff. I'm a Camo Queen, and that would probably be one brand that I would cop out on promoting because I do love it. But yeah, if you don't know what Canva is, sign up. It's super, super easy. I swear to God, I live by it. I make so much content off of it. It's amazing. And you can make a poster, you can make your pitch decks, you can make a PowerPoint presentation. it's going to save you so much time and effort. And there's templates. It's amazing.
I just wanted to say, like, in speaking to like what Shant said about like money, the other thing I think when it comes to having a lack of resources, it's like time is also a thing. So you're going to be making your own deck or what have you. But just to like, I had this show called The Drop, and we got nominated for a bunch of CSAs, which was really cool. And I think it's because like we campaigned, so we didn't have a lot of money, but it's like, okay, who do we need to reach? This goes back to being goal oriented. So we were like, because I think we had like $800, not even. And so we were like, who do we need to reach? We need to reach Academy voters. I don't need to reach like, it's different from needing to reach somebody to get them to watch your show. If the person, we want people to watch our show, but we want Academy voters to know that our show exists. So, for example, we put ads out in playback, and then also when we had little 9x16 reels or TikToks, when we put them out on the internet, we had targeted people who were also following publications like Deadline, IndieWire, Variety, Hollywood Reporter, because you can target those people. Yes, those would be predominantly Americans, maybe, but it would be industry people, industry folks who are typically members of the Academy. And so it's like being strategic. So we managed to get that $800 to do double duty for ourselves, and I made the graphics on Canva. However, maybe you don't have the means to be able to like advertise on a bus shelter, sure. However, there are other ways if you go back to being goal oriented, like what do I have and what do I need? Like it's literally just that, like making soup. I need carrots and celery to make a chicken soup. Okay, how do I get the carrots? That kind of thing. Like it's that linear to like bring it back down to the ground. There are actionable steps, even though it does seem like very macro in some of the things we're saying. Yeah.
Cool.
Sean's right, we need money.
That's true. We're going to open the floor to a Q&A. Kindly raise your hand, and then I will repeat the question. Hi. Question about money. What should you be putting in your budget? For example,
I can give the producer answer, and you can give the publicist answer. Love it. Okay. So the producer answer is if you're putting 10, I would put 2 in PR. I don't know.
I would go higher, but...
and always try to go higher, but... No, I know.
If you have a $10,000 budget, I'm a big proponent of like, you got to put a lot in marketing. So I would even say 4 to 5, in my opinion, because that covers not just PR, but it covers digital, it covers social media, it covers marketing. Marketing is very different from PR itself. Marketing is a whole other beast, and that actually costs more than the PR itself, but it's so helpful to the PR. So I would say I'm a big proponent of like a little bit more than the marketing side.
I can give the scrappy filmmaker DP question. So you have no money, but you want to spend that $2,000 on giving it to her to push your content. So to make the content, there's so many people out there that would happily come and shoot BTS for you just for the job. Yeah. There you go. Volunteer work, right? Yeah. They get a credit, okay? Then you got your Canva, so you do your products there. And then you also find an editor that's up and coming that'll cut your content. And then on top of that, you build that into your own film so you can grab screen grabs, use that as your poster if you don't have a poster graphic artist. Again, there's so many people that are hungry that are going to work for you for free. Do not abuse them.
Yes.
But give them a shot, and you'll get great content, and then you can put that $2,000 towards the actual marketing.
And also crediting. I would say like the whole free thing, like if it's a community, so like obviously we don't want to sit up here and be like, exploit your workers, because that's not good. But sometimes a person is willing to do something for the work experience or the credit, like, and like that's all you need. And like at the end of the day, it's up to that person if they want to say yes or no. So make sure you're interested in crediting them properly so that they can use it for their own ends. Don't just ask people to do things for free.
I work with a lot of interns at Humber, at the different colleges. They're all very, very interested. I mean, I pay my interns, but they're very interested in learning. I do. I believe in that because I didn't get paid as an intern. So I'm like, I'm not doing that for my interns. But there's a lot of hungry college students who are fantastic. and they want the experience, they want to be part of this, and I think that helps a lot in terms of lowering the budget a little bit, because they can help with things like, posting on social media. You can have a full social media person from a college for a lot cheaper, not necessarily exploiting them, but they want to learn and they want to get that credit. Exactly. So colleges are great, I would say. Yes.
Also, as a cinematographer, I build relationships with brands because I'm working with Area Rental or Fujifilm. These are all people that are giant companies, and sometimes they're willing to promote your film through having a shot of your DP using their product. Like literally a behind-the-scenes photo of me shooting on an Area Rental camera. They're going to repost that, and then like, oh, what is she working on? And then follow the thread to your film. So highlighting your crew members is also, again, back to that mutual promotion, mutual beneficial thing of your success is my success, so let's help each other out. And a lot of times they're willing to give gear to promote that cinematographer too. So look at your teammates and see where they can bring things to the table that might not be monetary but be beneficial in the long run.
Yeah, and another thing too is, like, in order to have money for marketing, as a producer myself, oftentimes filmmakers will bring me projects that are more ambitious than they have the funds for, right? So make the project that you have the money and resources for, because then you could allocate it in a much more feasible way when you're doing that, right? Cool. Any other questions? Hi. So, sorry. So the question is, like, how do you make that jump from shorts to features? How are you meeting filmmakers? The first thing I will say is investing in yourself. The fact that you are here right now, you are investing in yourself. And when you invest in yourself, that brings you knowledge, and knowledge is power, right? So nobody else is going to invest in you but yourself. There is a room full of filmmakers here, right? And so the fact that you're here right now is fantastic, right? The fact that you're attending Canadian Film Fest, the fact that you're coming in, maybe watching films or going to panels, like that's a huge leg up, first of all. But
there's tons of ways. I mean, obviously, there's, from a funding standpoint, there's the Talent to Watch program, which I'm sure everyone's heard of, with Telefilm Canada, which is a good first feature program. I've done that twice. We're executive producing other Talent to Watch projects. How do you get from here to there, basically? Well, first things first is I think it's writing your first draft of your feature film script, and then giving it to your friends. And does this work? Do you need to work on because maybe in your career, that's, I think, sometimes the issue, sometimes in a career standpoint, and usually actually this comes hand in hand, usually, is when you're at a career place where your short film has gone to Cannes or TIFF or Aspen or Palm Springs or something like that, and it suddenly popped off in the festival space, or even on YouTube, on Amleto or like a Dust or Alter, these kind of channels on YouTube. Once you you can sort of really feel when you're like ready to start taking that next step. But all that time, everyone who's taken that step from short to feature has had that feature in their back pocket for about at least 4 or 5 years. And they've been working on it, and they've been crunching at it, and they've been doing draft after draft after draft after draft, basically building that in their back pocket, but making stuff and getting it out there. And festivals is a way to sort of get that sort of feedback from a programmer, feedback from an audience in terms of, and each project, even now I've done 6, 7 features now, like it still feels like starting from scratch the next one, right? A little bit. Like you're always trying to sort of build something more and do something different and all that kind of stuff. So do the same thing with your shorts, and then you'll sort of feel when you sort of get to that place where you're like, this is really solid, and now I really want to expand this. And then every project is a work in progress for your career, basically.
Yeah. I'd say I made my first short in 2017 by accident, because I remember when I was like, I'm going to be a pretty actor. I need to show everybody that I can act, and so I'll make a short and I'll write a role for myself, and then I'll be on Suits. I know. She's so confused. There's no other, this is why I keep drumming down on, work. There's no other way than to just, fill that gap, keep making the shorts until it's undeniable. it just becomes like it clicks. So like, and you'll still make short films. Like I just finished a short film with a couple of my buddies, and I'm trying to lock picture on my feature. Like if you're down for filmmaking, you just got to be down. And I think like to what Shant said, festival play, like you just build momentum. Like, and even like Amelito, like I don't want to be like, you can check these boxes, but like you look at the resumes of some folks and they do have those things. Like I have a short on Amelito, I have a Vimeo staff pick, I have been at Aspen, I have like, you know what I mean? I have talent to watch. So like there are little benchmarks, and so it doesn't have to be this like big thing that's like a feature, because you're gonna make many. I think it's just one step at a time. Make it so good, it is undeniable. It doesn't matter how badly you want to make a feature if no one wants to program your short. You know what I mean? So it's just doubling down on the work, sharing your draft with your friends, writing, rewriting, crying on the bathroom floor, crying to your mom, rewriting some more, and eventually it does happen. I don't want to be like, it's magic, but it really is one step at a time. Focus on the work being good. Because even if you do get to that room where they're like, oh, the Russo brothers want you to direct their next script or whatever, even because they're not directing it. This analogy is weird. But even so, you want to be prepared in that room so that you could actually rise to the occasion. And the way to get there is via continuing to make your short films. And I would say festival play. Like, it just like connects you with the right industry partners, and you can just like, you gain momentum. Which is a weird answer, but it is the answer. I'm so sorry.
But it's showing up also, right?
Yeah,
it's showing up. Yeah.
Make a short that's a small version of your feature. I accidentally am turning my short film Gemma into a children's TV show now.
But you're taking
Like,
a piece of the feature, not.
Yeah.
Sorry, don't turn your feature into a short.
No.
Don't take the feature
Yeah.
length story and put it into like 5 minutes.
Yeah, take like
a piece of it.
a pivotal like moment of it and make like a 5 to 10 minute short, and now you have a pilot, a sizzle reel, a piece that you can put in festivals. If that does well in festivals, look at, I made 10 minutes look amazing. Give me another 60 to 70 minutes of
Yeah.
this if you like it so much. You know?
I will
So-
jump in though quickly and say that even though you're doing that though, still ensure that the story in the short has an arc.
Yes.
Because sometimes coming from a festival perspective, it's like we'll look at a short that's clearly a proof of concept that does not, you can't understand where the story's going, but it's like, oh, but you'll see in the feature. You'll see in the feature, but the short has to make sense too, right?
Of
At
course,
the same time. Yeah.
People
Yeah,
here
baby
have
steps.
seen the Whiplash short.
Yeah.
Oh, good example. There you
That's
go.
the one.
Yeah.
Like that's really like
There you go.
that piece, and then boom.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
There you go.
To have a proof of concept short in the festival this year.
Oh, there you go.
No, I'm not doing. But what I am saying is like my proof of concept, Nola, which is screening before her father. Where is Malad? His father's son is a proof of concept for my feature that we made in 2022. So I would say like, and yeah, it's Whiplash. Like, it has to be a good short. And people were like, I think it's pretty good. People were like, it's good. And then I got to make a movie. You know what I mean? Baby steps.
But no matter whether you're a DP, an art director, a director, you still need to create a body of work at the end of the day. You still need to show people the type of storyteller you are in whatever department you are. So like my favorite question is like, how do I become a DP? Or you gotta shoot something. You gotta shoot something, bud. You gotta pick up a camera, even if it's a phone, and you gotta make content, because
Yeah.
no one is gonna hand you anything if you can't prove that you can do the job. And if you want to do something specific, create the body of work that you want to shoot. Yeah, you might not be able to shoot on a big set with the budget you have, but you can do a lot. Like, I'm telling you, I'm older than I look, and I had nothing when I was starting out. I didn't even have a phone like this to shoot stuff on, and I've created I've actually been hired to shoot commercials on a phone. Like, you have access to so much more knowledge and information than I ever did when I was 19 and trying to make this in the industry, and the people before me. So there's literally no excuse for you not to create. So just use what you have, be resourceful, because that's what you're gonna have to do for the rest of your life if you want to do this for real.
And also going, off of that, I think for me as a publicist, I always say the most effective type of branding is not just visibility, but memorability and credibility. You want people to, understand who you are immediately, what you stand for, and why you deserve space in this industry and why it matters. And so I think, going off of your point, you have to create things in order to build that name. It doesn't matter, start small and then go from there, because if you don't have that body of work, it's harder to get into these rooms and prove yourself, right? We all know Mike White and Shonda Rhimes, right? Like, they built their names, and we understand, the credibility of their names. And I think that's a huge part of it, is building that trust from people.
Mike White was on Survivor. It's true. I think.
Could I also say,
yeah.
You could use social media to your advantage. Let's say you make a short and you do a festival run and it does good, or it doesn't. Social media, like, there's people, Wesley Wang, I don't know if you've heard of him. He made a short film, put it up on YouTube, that turned into it got like 8 million views or something, and now it's like a Darren Aronofsky script now he's making a feature film off of something he just put up on the internet that ended up getting a lot of views. I'm not saying aim for social media as your thing, because they're two very different worlds. Like, I'm working on a project right now that has nothing to do with social media, right? So don't confuse the two and think, okay, this is going to be on social media. Views means it's going to turn into something. It doesn't, because anything I've done in the acting filmmaking world isn't really tied to social media. It's two separate things. So be cognizant of that. But you can use social media to push your work, like we're saying. That is also a form of marketing. Understand the difference between short and long form. Take advantage of those things. Kind of like the question before, if you have $10,000 in a film, what do? If you do enough research, you could market stuff for free and it might do better than stuff you paid for. The internet is unpredictable. You don't know what will turn into what. I didn't know this was going to be my job. It just happened, right? I couldn't have aimed for this. So be aware of that when you're trying to get your voice out there, trying to show people what you can do. There's avenues that are free that could end up being a thing that gets you a Darren Aronofsky film. So just be aware of that.
Amazing. I think that's all the time we have. Thank you guys so much for coming here.
Thank you, Nick, Joanna, Malid, Dan, Rebecca, and Sean for these excellent insights that remind us to keep creating, keep climbing, keep breaking in. We'll see you at your next screenings. Big thanks to our sponsor, DGC Ontario, for making this roundtable possible. This conversation was produced by Jen Pogue, Ashley Rains, and Bern Euler for Canadian Film Fest. Music by Brett Higgins. This episode of Cheers and Chats podcast is co-produced, edited, and sound mixed by Avery Hughes. For more info on the fun happening now at CFF, find us at canfilmfest.ca.